Yeah, great, great, great. Please choose come on. This is fantastic. Excellent. Brilliant. There you are. Hello, hello, Sue. Beena will probably join us in a second again.
All
So
right,
this is
I'm back
really great. So there we go.
on.
Brilliant. Hello, hello back, Beena. Sue, say again.
Okay.
I didn't hear you. It may be that your audio is taking a moment to come on. So this is another reason I'm happy to start and come back because when we join, the computer always asks us, "Do you accept and use your audio?" You have to give permission to the computer to for Zoom to use the audio. You did that, yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay, there
Yeah.
you are. All right. There you go. Yeah, yeah. There just was a moment's delay before it became clear. So, Beena, just to fill you in, Sue came and did one of the workshops, the perspective shifting for self-discovery workshops, with three other ladies, friends of hers. It was really magical, and we had
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic workshop. It was really something profound, and I'm really pleased. This was in December, I think it was, right?
What's that?
When you came for the workshop was in December, right?
Yes, it was December, end of November,
Yeah, yeah. It was
December.
a
Yeah.
while back because then there was a
Yeah.
break, Christmas and New Year, and all sorts of stuff happening. So we're coming back to connect to see where we're going from here. But also, you had a very specific point too about Airbnb, right? Because Sue mentioned that they're looking to buy the house next door to
Yes.
them, and that
Mhm.
I've done Airbnb consulting and all of this, as you know, Bina. So,
Mm-hmm.
did you specifically want to focus on the Airbnb stuff, Sue?
I mean, I'd certainly like to know what your thoughts are. And Beena, you have done it as well?
No, Bina is not. Sorry.
No.
Oh,
Very
okay.
easy for you. But
I mean,
we
Uh,
sure, if Beena's up to talking about that, sure.
oh, she is always, always. Yeah,
I just want to raise
okay.
my
yeah.
computer.
Sil, I sorry to interrupt you, but I
Uh,
just want to make sure that okay, if it is private sessions, so you guys can
no,
carry
no,
on, and I can.
No,
no. It's fine.
Oh,
It's fine.
no, not at all. Not at
Bina,
all.
Bina assists with the facilitation of wave impeccability, and everything that I do, and both of us, everything is connected to the wave impeccability. The big program that we have. So
Mhm.
it doesn't matter whether we're talking about Airbnb or not. The underlying abstract elements of what we're doing, like exactly our conversation this morning, Bina, with Richard, and then earlier with Sherry, it was precisely about application in non-obvious ways in our specific details of our life. We're talking about construction with Richard, and you when you were dealing with the conference, the Women's Empowerment Conference. So it doesn't matter when we're dealing about Airbnb. It's all going to come in. For instance, the key factor with Airbnb is trust.
It's trust.
That's it. When we understand this is what makes Airbnb work, it's trust. So if you're setting up your Airbnb, man, most people, they put all the facilities and they think this is what it's all about. Yes, those are nice to have all the amenities and all the features. But if you don't have trust, nobody's going to rent your place.
Hmm.
This is the number one place. You've used Airbnb
Makes sense.
yourself, right, Sue?
Makes sense. Absolutely.
Right. You
Absolutely.
see a nice place, but the person's got bad reviews, you don't trust them, you're not going there. End of
Right.
story. So
Right.
when we understand it's trust number one, then everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rest
That's
is
how we
ugly.
found you through Airbnb.
Precisely,
Yeah.
precisely,
Yeah.
exactly,
Which
exactly,
is cool.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah, there's another woman, another therapist that I'm supposed to meet hopefully this week. My massage therapist said to me, Sue, is it okay if I give this woman I met your number? She wants to open up an Airbnb as well. And she said she wants to have, just like how I found you, hooked into the area, all these good therapists, you know what I mean, right in her backyard. So if she wants treatments while she's here, she can certainly come and make an appointment, which is great. But that's kind of the idea I wanted to do as well with buying the place next door. We're on the fence a little bit with it, only because it's so much money. And, we're at that point in our lives where we should be scaling back instead of,
Ah,
you know,
wow. All right. So this is a big strategy, and much is involved. This is very exciting. We love strategy. Strategy is part of wave impeccability, as
Mhm.
Beena found out when she was dealing with this conference where she's at. They had a women's empowerment conference,
Uh-huh.
and she was involved. Anyway,
Cool.
she used lots of strategy in terms of dealing with the guests and things. So yeah, it's very exciting, very exciting. And Beena is an exemplification of women's empowerment. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But
Awesome.
strategy.
Awesome.
So just for us to understand exactly what's going on, you do something that is involved in you have something that you yourself do that comes from a therapeutic perspective of some kind. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So you are looking at utilizing the building next door as a place where you can apply and practice and use it as a mechanism for what you do. Yes.
Yeah. I'm currently in, it's a half of a double, but it's huge. It's 3,200 square feet on each side. Each
Wow.
side. Total, it's 6,400 square feet.
Wow.
It's my husband and my dog, Hercules. That's all it is.
Wow.
But so currently, I've had several offices over the years. I've been in practice for 20 years, but what was I going to say? I thought, oh, it's out of my home right now. I'm thinking, I just like to have it separate.
Yes.
It's important. It's really hard to cut off that line.
Yes.
A client walks out the door and you got to start making supper and being a wife and a furry mom,
Wow.
So I thought next door, plus I designed jewelry so I could display all my jewelry over there.
Wow.
And because there's so much room, if I really wanted to make it with other therapists who would come in during the week and rent the room, it's some extra income coming in.
Excellent.
But above it, because there's so much room there, I thought, to make that an Airbnb. And then if they wanted therapy, they just have to come downstairs. It would be right there.
Wow. All
Out.
right. So before we get into the details of how much space and how to effectively utilize and optimize and maximize that space, because if it is an interconnected space and you have the ability to rent it out, let's say for 20 people, or for just, break it up in the 5 groups of 2, that flexibility is huge. This is a very big plus and a bonus. So when you're doing construction, if there's going to be construction involved, I don't know, but it's just something to be aware of, that this is very powerful.
Massive. I mean, the problem with the property is that it is, it's in complete turmoil.
Okay.
It needs all new electrical, all new heating and air conditioning, new roof, new chimney.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking $200,000 just to get it up to code.
Gotcha. So this is very important, and we'll get into the specifics then. And Richard, my friend who was just here right now, he can help us and assist with that. He does this exact stuff. So he's in the building industry. So this is fantastic. But the point I wanted to, and he also owns Airbnb. He has his own property that he does in Brazil, and his house in Santa Cruz, and I helped him set all that up and fine tune it and tweak it and get it really productive, and because there's a lot involved with Airbnb. But one of the key factors, especially in a new property, is if you are going to make changes, to do it knowing what you can do with Airbnb. Like for instance, I said to have a property where let's say it's separate things. And yes, you make it where it can be one big house, but you have the interconnecting door and you put locks on both sides where, you can, and that now gives you the ability to make it one big space or to break it up. And you want to have individual bathrooms and little kitchenettes in each unit, right? And this is very key, very useful. One other point I want to make in terms of what you do and your plan and your idea. If done properly, your Airbnb will pay for your mortgage.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So this is really key to know. Secondly, to understand the Airbnb experiences and to be just aware that it is a separate thing to Airbnb rentals, right? Yes, it's the same company, but it's a separate deal. You don't need to have an Airbnb rental to offer an Airbnb experience.
Right? Correct.
Okay. So in the same way as we didn't have, right? And you came through us through experiences, even though it's part of Airbnb. Now, of course, people staying get shown your experience if you put up an experience for your therapy aspect of what you do. You can set it up as an experience. But even without that, just the fact that you offer it and you can do it in these spaces gives you a great freedom. Now, let's just say you make the whole space into Airbnb rentals for people to stay. Just for argument's sake, never mind the rentals for office space.
Mm-hmm.
just people staying. Inevitably, let's say in that whole space there, it sounds like you probably could have 4 or 5 units independently, yes?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. The town won't allow
Ah,
independently. Okay.
oh,
Like
but yeah,
it could
it's
be,
1 unit, but you can rent off a room and that. Okay,
yeah, there's 6 bedrooms.
brilliant.
So
Right.
so it can be, I want them to have the availability to use the kitchen, to do this, to do that, but I kind of
Right.
want to squeeze my business in there.
Right.
Um,
Right. So
yeah.
what I'm saying is, if you have this set up in such a way where, okay, you're not going to get 6 units out of it necessarily from a city point of view. It's 1 unit, but you can block off a door and you can rent out, the east wing bedroom, whatever it is, on its as an own independent unit. Here's where the magic comes in. What I'm trying to say. Let's say you do this and you have 3 or 4, just for argument's sake, different units that you can list on Airbnb individually. When you don't have the entire unit, big units are very popular typically because they're hard to come by, where you can put more than 6 people in. There's a scarcity of them. But if you have that ability, you can now say, okay, I'm renting the house to 8 people and I've got my unit free. I can now take my clients for my therapy and do it in that unit. It doesn't have to be the same unit every time.
Right.
Inevitably, what happens is, let's say you've got 4 units and you're renting them. It's almost impossible to get 100% rental because you get odd
Right.
days. People will, there's a Tuesday or a Wednesday that's open and nobody books it because they don't want it. In those dead times, those open spots on your calendar, this is where you schedule your clients.
Right.
So now
Right.
you're actually
Right.
utilizing your property 100% of the time.
Right. Right.
This now changes the entire equation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to make allowance for your cleaners and all of that, but even so, even within that time frame, you're going to have open time that you can use. And because your clients don't care which of the specific rooms you are having it in, makes no
No.
difference to them. And if you're stuck, you do it in your house. If
Right. Exactly. Exactly. All I need is a table and a chair.
exactly, but you have this freedom. Plus, my friend Sherry, who was on earlier, who's also doing Wave Impeccability, she is an artist. And she also has Airbnb, which I've also helped her with. And in her Airbnb house, she has her art. And she's got a room where she's got
Yep.
her art product in there.
Yep.
She's got all the art on the walls and it's all for sale. You can
Yep.
do the same with your jewelry, right?
Yeah,
So,
my jewelry, and my friend is an artist, so I would let her put all her stuff down. I mean, there's so many options
exactly.
out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just the struggle for us is the possibilities with Airbnb are massive,
Right.
except for the fact, couple things. Our town is very small. It's 5,000 people, if
Wow.
that.
Wow.
Okay. It's a tiny, tiny little town. It has 1 jewelry store, a couple antique stores, 2 pubs, a
Wow.
general store. I mean, it's, where I am, it's very walkable, to all this stuff,
Gotcha.
which is very sweet. We are close to the Pocono Mountains and the Appalachian Trail. I'm 11 miles from the Pocono Mountains.
Oh, so that's huge. So that does make Airbnb a potent market for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if they want to go skiing, they might have to drive another half hour, 40 minutes to us. There's a couple slopes around here. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff up in the Poconos, for skiers, but I don't know what other draw. And I have the Appalachian Trail, which is 1 mile from the house.
Yeah. I mean,
So the hikers.
summertime, the hikers come. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in Sedona, people come to Sedona specifically to hike.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have another person who's doing Wave Impeccability, Benny. His business is called Earth Tours. They inspire tours. He takes you to the sacred places in Sedona, anywhere you want to go. So, and he's got a fantastic business doing just that. So, he can give some perspective on this too, in terms of, and people need a place to stay when they do this. So,
Yeah.
And I can look up for you, you can share the name of your town. I can look it up for you specifically how the market is for Airbnb.
Oh,
but
I would love you to do that. Yeah, it's Bangor, Pennsylvania. Bangor,
I know the name of the
Pennsylvania,
town.
because there's a Bangor, Maine, but I'm
Right. I know
Pennsylvania.
Bangor, Maine too. I
Yeah.
actually know both of the towns. That's interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Okay.
18013 is my zip code there. But
Okay.
yeah, if you can, I only know of two homes in the whole town that are Airbnbs.
Excellent.
I
Excellent.
don't know how they're doing or how you can find out unless you
So
write
yeah,
the posts.
I would make an effort to connect with the people personally.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
just go and visit them and or rent a thing there and you know through that and say, hey, you know, I'm interested in, I'm just keen to hear on your thing. What I would recommend if it's a small town, just kind of keep it to yourself for the Airbnb and just do your own thing, because some
Yeah.
towns haven't set up regulations for it yet. And
Yeah.
when you go and ask them, can I do, then you get into that whole quagmire. Just do it, and that's the end of
Yeah, I already asked them and they just said we have to put it up as a rental property and I pay $100 or $200 for the year for an inspection. And then every 2 years they check on it. That's all.
Fantastic.
It's that's kind of the bonus sometimes of a small town.
Yes.
But coming up in all the zoning laws are changing in 2020. They're changed in 2020. And if you haven't complied with them by 2021, your town has to. Right now, we are off of 2015 rules.
Oh, okay.
So we're behind here quite a bit, you know, and, you know, some of those catch-ups are enough to stop you in your tracks, you know.
But also you want to just kind of be low key, because some places get very, you know, people get up in arms, or they can be, you know, people parking and coming and going. They just get childish about it, and then they just cause friction. Of course, it never works, and you know they can't inhibit it. Airbnb is a massive industry, and you know, like in Sedona, there was a lot of opposition, but it's a big industry in Sedona.
Oh, it's fabulous there. I mean, that's just a tourist town.
Exactly.
Why would they even stop it?
But it's just local mindset, you know. It's just people being really very very narrow in what they do. So yeah, so this is very exciting, you know. If in terms of the possibilities, I'll definitely will look that up for you. It's no problem.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm surprised if there's any place that's not worthwhile for Airbnb, because people look for out of the way remote places, and you know it's in an area. So are you close to a particular city?
Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, Philadelphia is only an hour away. New York City is an hour and 15 minutes away.
Exactly. So where you at, it gives you access to the entire, you know, from Philadelphia all the way New Jersey, New York, all of that. So many people understand this, and you know that you can use this as a central hub. And no matter where you live, and unless you're going to downtown Manhattan, you know, which is very expensive, pretty much anywhere is an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
right. The traffic.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't really matter, you know. So now you're in the country with access to everything. So people are coming out east, and you know, especially if the place is bigger, this is very powerful.
Yeah.
You can convert that space to sleep. Okay, it's got 6 bedrooms. That right there is 12 people that can sleep. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's got enough easily. This is fantastic. Now, it sounds like there's a lot of open space. Think of this: if you can sleep, you know, 20 people. Let's just say you stretch it a little bit. Living rooms, okay. I don't know how comfortable it is, but just say 20 people. You can have a little conference or a retreat there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
that's what I mean. There's so many cool possibilities here. Exactly. It's not even funny. Exactly. Yeah.
And when you are multiple people, it is the math that comes up. When you go to an hotel, it's 2 people per room, right? And that's it. You do this room, you know, okay, let's just say, just for argument's sake, say you're paying $100, right? I mean, that's $1,000 that you're spending. Now, your Airbnb for 20 people is not going to be $1,000. It's likely going to be for 20 people, you know, somewhere in the region of half of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the bonuses of having the kitchen, the living room, and all of this stuff, and interactivity and interconnectivity. Your group is a whole cohesive group. So of course, companies and, you know, like you and your friends, I don't know if you stayed in an Airbnb together or not, but we know when you and the other 3 came, you know, this is huge to have that cohesion of your group.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
Putting it up in a hotel room, and this is why I'm saying you where you at, it adds so much. Plus, if you say, that you have a space in the living room where you can seat, you set it up so that you can have a mini retreat or a conference right there. You have a extended living room, including the dining room table, that you actually have physical seating for 20 people.
Yeah, easily. I mean, the living room's 20 by 30.
There you go. You
yeah.
see, now your whole property has shifted. You're not just providing accommodation, you're providing a conference or a retreat center.
Mm-hmm.
Huge
Yeah.
shift
Yeah.
in what you're
Yeah.
doing.
The other opportunity, I don't know if you can do it through, if they could do it through Airbnb, but I thought some of the big corporations that are around here, the Crayon Factory, Victaulic, Follett, who else? Harvell, Gare. I mean, there's some big industries here. Even the hospitals, they're coming up everywhere. They pay, when they want people to come in from out of town, there's not a whole lot of hotels here.
Exactly. So therefore you have a market already made.
Could be an extended stay, but I don't know. I guess you could market through Airbnb to those companies.
Oh, absolutely. Because they know any company is looking for accommodation. If you're the one who has to book this, right, you are going to be looking at Airbnb. Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're budget conscious, a hotel is not the best option. And especially if you're bringing in a group, you look for places like this. And everybody knows to Airbnb. Plus,
and they could have their meetings here.
Right. So part of the skill in terms of my Airbnb consulting, that aspect of it is to maximize and optimize your title. And in your particular title, you can put the words conference and retreat. So if they look up and they do a Google search or whatever, you come up, Airbnb, you come up. Oh, I'm looking for a conference facility. Now, there's not just Airbnb, there's VRBO and, HomeAway, and there's others that you also list on. So Airbnb, they're not the only market player, and, so
Right.
search all of these things. So putting it in your house's title, that retreat and conference, this is going to become. Plus, the fact that you have availability. When you go to Airbnb, the first thing they ask you is when, and then they say how many people. You put in 20 people, see what comes up.
Yeah, nothing.
But if they put it in the area, boom, Sue pops up. You're the only option.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
So,
no, I see. Yeah, I didn't go that far in thinking of those capabilities.
Wow.
But how do you determine pricing? And also, there's another very cool. It's called Columbkeel. It's a Celtic. A pastor and his son took all these stones and they moved them all around. It looks like Stonehenge. It's so amazing. And people go up there to do a lot of meditating and yoga, and they have a labyrinth, and it's just a very quiet, serene place. So again, people, if I can attract people who are in our world of therapeutic sense, that'd be another thing that's very close. I mean, they have a center on the property, but I don't know how much it holds and what they, I would be competition to them, but so be it,
Yeah. So, that's why I said retreat and conference. Those are your two key words. That you put in your title, and then you put it in your description. So people searching for retreat or conference facilities, people coming to that particular place, this is ideal. And typically, if they're wanting to hold a retreat in the area, there's no real place where we can have a retreat. Your place can be a retreat center.
Gotcha. Now, all that hotel and occupancy tax, we have to do that ourselves, or is that something Airbnb does for us?
Airbnb does take off taxes automatically. Yes, they do
and
that.
They file them for them. So they receive them, they file them on my behalf. So correct. I don't have to set that up, something different.
No, they do.
All they do is send me my check once the people have shown up.
Correct. And then, if you have an accountant or any, you go to any of the places that help you with your taxes, they know how to put it into your personal tax returns, the income that you're getting. So, this is a tax thing, and any of the tax people, I'm not an expert on tax, and I avoid that. I say it's very simple though, because the industry is so big and everybody's doing it. When you go to any place that helps you with your taxes, they know how to deal with taxes from rental. It's
Right.
not a big deal.
Yeah. Now we have my husband's company. He does his company and our personal. So I would absolutely contact him.
Exactly. So taxes is usually something in this case, because Airbnb does participate in the taxing, and they do take some of the taxing off automatically. Once you set it up, it's taken care of automatically.
Yeah.
Very useful.
Good.
Very good to know.
Good. How do you know how to price it out?
Okay, this is part of something that I can research for you as well.
Okay.
Right? I mean, this you just have to do some homework and research, and you look at hotels, you look at other Airbnbs, and you just make your pricing. And then as you go along, you adjust it up and down as appropriate.
Oh, okay.
Furthermore, pricing is very fluid and very dynamic. You want to be active on your pricing. Part of what puts you up in the rankings of Airbnb is how actively you manage your listing.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
That you go to your calendar and you say, okay, next week I've got Tuesday and Wednesday open, and I've got everything around it booked. These are 2 orphan days. That's what they call them. I'm going to make it a special. I'm charging $500. Let's just say I'm charging $500 for the 20 beds. I'm now going to make this $200 for those 2 days as a special. That's active management of your calendar.
Oh,
Airbnb
okay.
likes that you're actively involved. So when you do a search for Bangor, PA, and you get up all the listings there, they're going to put you right at the top. And there's other things. It's not only that. There's many things, and this is part of what my consulting does. It enables you and assists you in setting up your listing appropriately. It will make you go higher in the rankings, right? So it's very important.
Yeah.
When you went to Sedona, right? You put in, for 4 beds, you got a ton of listings, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the other advantage of having a big place. If you put in 20 beds, of course, you get up very few listings. Even in Sedona, there's very few places that have offered 20 beds on Airbnb. This doesn't exist, So when you go over 6, especially 8 and 10, this gives you a big advantage. You come up in the listings. Now, somebody searching for 2, if you said, well, okay, I've got all these people coming and they don't need, you've got 6 people and they don't need that extra room, you can partition it off and rent it separately.
Oh.
Now you come up with 2 beds and there's an 8 bedroom, or somebody's booked they booked the big one, and you say, well, they don't need all the space. Okay, fine. You give them a little bit of a price break, in your discussions, you say, fine, I can section it off. You only need 8 beds. Boom, there you go. So you get lots of flexibility, in this. So this is very powerful, and this is all the technicalities. You have to set up your pricing to be, and then you have a per person charge, which might be higher, and you explain how it works, and this just opens up the door. So lots of things to do. I have literally a spreadsheet, and I call it my 1,001 points of things to do. There's actually more than 1,000 points, but anyway, of specific little detailed things that one does to
Oh, wow. So if we get into this, Sil, what's your fee for for consulting for the Airbnb to help me?
You asked me a good question. Me and fees, I'm dreadful when it comes to them. I just, my business model is based on appropriateness. So I don't specifically have a fee. Mostly what I've done for people, and they just they just ended up giving me what they felt was good, which was great, and a lot of it I did for my friends too. So I will let you know, Sue,
Okay.
depending on exactly what you want me to do.
Right.
If you, at this stage, you're still looking to, we're just doing a research thing. And
Right. I need to research it just a tad more to make it.
Right. So that's not a problem. I'll just do that for you. Don't worry about it. But if you actually decide to acquire this property and convert it to an Airbnb, then I would say we can do a full-on consulting, and likely this is going to be in the range of 500 to 1,000. There's a lot involved. Yeah,
that's fine.
And yes, I'm very inexpensive. I undercharge.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so you have an idea.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. Because again, I tried to
points and all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. And then you've got the experience, and it's all worth it. Absolutely. Our plan. What's that?
It's a plus to this. Plus.
It's plus.
Well, I'm doing something and we interact like with Sherry. We started me helping her to upload videos onto YouTube. It's a very technical thing. right? I don't want to be doing the technical stuff, but they all connect to the way of impeccability. So any interaction automatically includes that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. No, that's so true. So true. What we are struggling the most with is, should we do it from a money standpoint?
Yes.
You know, I'm 63 this year. My husband's 4 years younger than me, and his health is pretty good, but he had both of his carotid arteries tear in a freak accident when we were in Aruba. He was out swimming. This was 2016. So 4 years ago, he was out by himself out there swimming away, and he heard this pop in his neck.
Wow.
So he was in his early 50s.
Wow.
So he hears this pop in his neck, and he became paralyzed.
Is he still paralyzed?
No,
Oh.
while swimming.
Oh,
But he knew enough. He was a very good swimmer. He turned over and rolled on his back to float. And he came back to me on his back floating. He goes, oh, I thought to myself, why is he floating?
wow.
And he didn't say anything.
Wow.
Nothing.
Couldn't. Yeah.
Couple hours later, we had been traveling. We had been up at this point maybe 30 hours from traveling, and we got to the beach. We weren't going to be there that many days, so we went right outside and so forth. And so we said, maybe we need to get off the beach, go get a nice meal. So we were going to go have this French meal, and we're both foodies. We go to this restaurant, and it was a set menu, so we got the same thing. And he kept saying to me, he goes, does this taste right for you?
Wow.
And I thought, what is going on here? And I said, no. So then he started to get a massive headache. His neck got stiff, all kinds of stuff. And I said to the waiter, listen, I'm sorry. We're going to have to leave. My husband isn't feeling well.
Yeah.
So of course, felt very badly because, you know, we're here on vacation.
Yeah.
And, you know, now he's in bed. We're in bed at 6 o'clock at night. So I said, don't worry about it. I said, let's get a good night's rest, and then we will start early tomorrow. So he decides to say, he went to sleep, and he said, let's go tomorrow morning when he woke up on these excursions where you take those all-terrain vehicles and you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, not knowing what had already happened to him.
Wow.
Whatever wasn't, both sides tore.
Aggravated.
Jostling.
Yeah.
Made it worse. So for 3 weeks, he kept feeling like he had the flu and a sore neck, and you know, so we were treating all kinds of stuff, and nothing was coming up. So one day he called me and he said, Sue, what does it mean from work? He has his own business. He has several employees there, and he said, what does it mean when someone's one eye is smaller than the other? And I said, Bill, I said, it could mean a lot of things. It could mean they have a chalazion. There's some kind of a swollen inflammation under their eye, so it's going to get smaller. I said, that's a simple thing. I said, worst case scenario, I said, there's a neurological disorder. I said, someone's having a stroke or an aneurysm.
Yeah. Micro strokes, you know, all sorts of things. Yeah.
I said, why? I said, who is it? And he pauses, and I can still feel that pause.
Wow.
Yeah. He said, it's me. I said, it's you. I said, you take a picture of yourself right now. I said, send it to me. Yeah. So he sends me this picture, and you could see the whole paralysis starting on his face.
Wow.
We're having a neurological episode. We need to get you to the hospital or the doctor. He goes, well, I got things to do here.
Idiot. It's like, come on, dude. I mean, seriously now.
I said,
I hope you smacked him over the head verbally.
He just needed to process it. So we hung up the phone, and about 10 minutes later, he said, can you call the doctor? I said, yes. So he called the doctor. He got us right in, and he says, I think you're having a brain aneurysm.
No, interesting.
Immediately to the doctor, to the hospital for a MRI, but it wasn't the aneurysm. He had torn both of his carotid arteries in this.
Fascinating. I never heard that before. Really?
It's actually not common. It's rare, but he said the doctor in Philadelphia, we went to University of Penn to the specialist. and he said that a young girl, 23 years old, was driving her car, turned as she's going in reverse and tore hers. So it's one of those things, you know, where they check them for cancer. Because, like, what's a healthy guy for the most part?
Right.
Something like this happen.
Wow.
So why I told that big long story was because since that event, he can't ever lift and hold anything over his head because that puts too much strain on the neck there. The one side was 100% blocked. It's now 100% open. This one was 80% blocked. It is now 40% open.
Fascinating.
So,
wow.
The body healed itself. He had no surgery, nothing.
Wow.
Had he gone for treatment in Aruba, they said he'd have been dead because they would have tried to put a stint or done something. They said he would have died on the table or been a massive get out. So he has, let's call it limitations, you know, and this job, he is extremely, extremely handy and very talented in that. He's very mechanical. There isn't plumbing, electrical that he can't do. Okay.
Oh, wow. So,
imagine what tears at him that, and we finally came to the realization and and the truth of saying, Bill, if we get this, we have to hire people.
Yes.
We can't. And plus we wouldn't have the time to do it, you know. But so now that costs us more money because now we have to pay people for things we could do. You know, maybe he's not going to climb up on a 4th story of a roof. We'd hire a roofer to come in there and hire someone. But
at least he knows he can supervise.
Yeah. And he would be very good at that. Very good at that. But the question too, so he's got those
it's a consideration that you have to take into mind. Yeah.
Right. And I am very handy and I am determined and motivated for so many things, you know. But I have my hand here that is really, it's so arthritic that my reflexology work and my jewelry making is becoming problematic because I don't want to have surgery. So again, I mean, I'd be there hammering and painting and do my limitations. So being where we are, especially me at my age, is that what we really want to be doing? Do we want to put that kind of money? I think I said to him, I think as an income property, we'd be fine. I said that was my idea, but he didn't want to have to do, he doesn't want to be a landlord. You know, that comes with too much other crap. You can't even get the people out if they're problematic.
Right.
And it's
that's the magic of Airbnb.
Yeah. And
Airbnb, you get a lot more than you do just renting it full time. I mean, it's a big difference. So,
And you know, he said, then we can just open it up. He said, and we can just have this. I can put my billiard table over there, which has been in a box for 20 years.
Wow.
Stuff and I mean, I'm really good at decorating. And I would have a ball doing that. But it's the time. It's going to take us probably, I'm going to guess 6 months to a year.
Oh yeah.
It needs to be gutted.
Yeah. So many things come up as a financial investment. Airbnb is a profound investment, or just in rental. And it sounds like you can buy this property, the acquisition, relatively inexpensively because it needs to be fixed up. And understanding the return on investment here, I would be very surprised if it isn't considerable and really worthwhile. I mean, this is just the nature of not just Airbnb, but rental. It is that way when you have such an opportunity. The fact that it is right next door gives you a profound advantage in your Airbnb, in that people know you live next door. If there's a problem, you can take care of it. It's just a huge deal. Now, Airbnb, as you probably know from being somebody, the people who typically rent these places are nice people. You see their reviews. They're very considerate. They don't abuse the places. All my friends have never had a bad experience. Not one. All the people that I've helped with Airbnb, none of them have had a bad experience. So this is a very big deal. But I want to talk about something else. Yes, you and your husband are both coming to that age, where you are looking at things are different, they're slowing down. I don't want to bring in that word retirement, but it's part of the deal. And Airbnb gives a focus to a different lifestyle, one that has some purpose to it, some connectivity. You've got people coming and going. It is a profound thing as the years go by. It's low maintenance for you. You can, of course, if you want to, do the cleaning yourself, which is a big boost to your own personal income, should you want it, or of course employ one. Either way, it doesn't matter. And you can do the workshops, you can do your therapy stuff, but you don't need to. If this is set up properly, it gives you a retirement capability, which is really awesome. And I'm meaning it very much more also from a spiritual and a psychological perspective, that many people get to a point where they stop working and then they feel useless, they feel disconnected, they don't have a focal point in their lives. This will provide that. And as you are, just from the little that I know you, you have an outgoing personality, you have a connectivity, and you like being involved, doing stuff. And so if this suddenly comes where you don't have stuff in your life, then you get that, you get old age depression. There's no other kind of word for it. I just want to say it that way. So this is something to consider. You're not just investing financially, you are investing psychologically and spiritually also.
Yeah.
So
I
a
thought
focal point in your life.
To have it just be there with another 3,300 square feet is stupid. And then it would only be for people, our friends from France, our friends from England who come visit us usually every year. They would have a free place to stay. We wouldn't charge them, but I got to clean that. You know what I mean?
Right. But if it pays for itself, and you just exactly, and you have your cleaners, and they just, you just book off that week that your friends come. Your cleaners are there. They're doing it for the next one anyway. It's not a problem. It's not on you to do this. Yeah.
Correct.
Now your house that you're in right now has extra space, if I understand it also.
Yes.
All right. So if you're,
but my husband would never want somebody coming into our space.
No, I understand that. But I mean, it's just that if your friends come, there's overflow, things like that. Yeah.
Unless there were people that we knew, we would gladly have them sit here.
Yeah. Like Deanne and Karen and Donna, and that like that would be, yeah. I'm just saying it gives you lots of options and flexibility. It's very powerful, very powerful. So there's that's what I'm just making the point that there's more to things, and I always look at that more. It's part of the way of impeccability. It's a very big deal. That capital M more. And when you look at this not only as a financial investment, but also as a spiritual and a psychological investment, this is very profound. It's a very big deal.
Yeah, I think the psychology, like you said, as retirement comes, and again, if I was not able to make jewelry anymore because of my hand, or do reflexology anymore, I have other modalities that don't require that constant movement of my thumb, emotional work and so forth with people. That's a great opportunity. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
To do.
Exactly. And from a space like that, I would say that you are probably looking at least an income of 5,000 a month. Just very roughly. I'm being somewhat conservative, depending on how it's set up, the units and all of that. But a big space like that, at least. So it's not inconsiderable. And I'm being very conservative here because I hate to quote numbers if I don't have the data and the research. But it could easily be more than that, even twice that.
We would probably back it down to 5 bedrooms, usable bedrooms, because it's only 1.5 baths right now.
That's a big factor. The bathrooms is a big factor.
You can't have 20 people or 6 people in one bathroom.
Right, exactly. And this is a point I wanted to mention. When doing your renovation, since you are going to be doing electrical, and heating and all this, which is including,
That's what we have
plumbing.
to do.
Yes, make allowance in your budget for adding bathrooms. It makes all of the difference.
Yeah.
It is a huge factor.
Yeah, even if we sold it still as a home, a separate home down the road,
Yes.
stop doing that.
Oh, it adds value. Absolutely.
5-bedroom home
right.
with 1.5 baths
Right.
just work
So,
nowadays.
I want to, yes, you can't. It's a huge deal, and I want to present another option to you. Just something to put into the toolbox of awareness. My friend Richard, who I've known for 25 years, he's also doing the way of impeccability. And he was on just earlier, and this is what he does. Likely he would be willing to come out there and stay in the house while he's doing it, which would be a fantastic arrangement from you. Now, yes, he knows exactly what's involved. He's in California, and he does fixes places up, whatever they need to do. But he also understands Airbnb, bathrooms, electrical, whatever, all this stuff. He can do it all. But my point is that he's somebody who has a freedom of being, and very few people will come and be on site. He probably would be willing to do that. I just know him, in his situation and how things are. A long story, but he probably would be willing to do that. But to find somebody to do this kind of work that is absolutely 100% trustworthy, that is impeccable in their doings, that takes great care, this is Richard. So I'm just saying this is an option that you can say. I'm trying to say that where you can get somebody to do the things, the hands-on stuff, and okay, you'll employ people extra if he needs that, hire labor, manual labor, but somebody that knows what they're doing, does it thoroughly, properly, impeccably, to a high standard. He can show you his house. You can go look at it on Airbnb and all this. This is invaluable. It is a point of stress reduction. This is what I'm trying to say. I can connect you. If he knows ahead of time, he can set aside a block of time. He probably would be willing to do this. And now your project, he's there on site. It's one project that he's looking to get it done. It's going to go a lot quicker, and he'll tell you exactly how long, but it's going to be done properly without you having to stress and worry with people cheating you and ripping you off and not doing it properly. So this is a big gift, This is a very big thing that I'm proposing, It's not a simple thing, because everybody knows a contractor, but they don't know contractors that are willing to come to you,
Yeah. No. Well, my family is in the construction business.
Then you know. Exactly.
So we've been around that, our whole lives, and that's why it's hard. That's why I'm so thankful I met a man who was really kind of like my father, who could fix everything.
Wow, exciting.
Never saw one serviceman ever come to our.
Wow, that's huge. But I'm mentioning this also because of your husband. Sorry, what is his name? I always feel so. Bill. Well, I always feel so weird to say your husband all the time. It seems so impersonal, So just the way I grew up, I guess. So, being cognizant of Bill's specifics, that, he has to be careful of doing all this himself. So when he has somebody there that he can trust that's doing it hands-on, then it gives him that freedom to say, okay, no worries, you know what you're doing, and it's easy, So, and, you'll meet Richard. Like I said, he was on earlier, he's on, comes on, he's going to, while he goes to a job, his job's an hour and a half away, he comes on Zoom, so it's okay, It's very exciting. Yeah. So I just mentioned it as a peace of mind option. This is what I'm trying to say, because you were mentioning before, that of the restrictions involved with Bill, that this is something that's kind of useful and powerful. Hello, Beena. I'm glad you're back here again. I'm glad you're back here.
Okay.
So we've just been going on all the Airbnb stuff, but I also wanted to bring something else in terms of just as a continuation, and it's perfect timing, Beena. When we did the workshop, there was things that came from that, and in terms of resolution and things to work on, your plus 10 points, but they were specifically for you with something that you were personally working on, right? And how was that gone?
For me?
Yeah, you, Sue, personally, yeah. So I'm pleased Beena came just at the exact time, because I want to transition to this. And now we are shifting into things which are connected to what we are doing, So I'm just keen as a follow-up from that spiritual, psychological, emotional point of view, mindset point of view, application point of view. what has happened since the workshop till now, and specifically in connection with the shriek, right? I don't know what you call it. I don't like to put labels on these things because it tends to entrench them.
With the what you say, detail to what word did you use?
The shriek, I said. I don't know what other word to use. Like when you get surprised and then you had that.
That's been better. Oh, that's been better.
Excellent.
It's too funny. I did it once
good.
the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, I haven't done this in so long, you know.
Oh, good. Because it is something that is appropriate as an occasional thing,
Sure.
you know, like, as we said, but not just for, you know, in the way it was, just the degree of it being activated was. So that's fantastic to hear. All right. So that problem is resolved then.
Yeah. But what's interesting that kind of came out of our seminar there with you, with all the other ladies, was my voice of speaking out and saying, listen, why is everyone looking at me like I'm doing this on purpose? And that's when I shared to them about,
yes, that was huge.
Such a young age and so forth. But ever since then, Donna, who was the one, she was sitting in the chair by herself.
Correct, Donna, yes.
She's the one who kind of has distanced herself. But she's also the one who spoke the least about her feelings. She spoke up and said, I just, you know, need to say to you that you scare me, you know. But she's been a client of mine for 20 years.
Oh,
you know?
I didn't know that in the workshop. I was aware that she was actually a client, not only a friend, but a client. Oh, that changes things quite considerably.
And her sister, I've worked on Donna's whole family over the years, and her sister, Deanne, who I didn't have any issues at all with her because she was compassionate.
Yes.
You know, and then to hear
made
her
an effort to be so,
about herself being sexually assaulted and her daughter and that whole thing, she you know, all she could do after we left there was hug me and say, I'm so
good.
sorry you had to go.
Good.
Go to Karen, who is still in some weird turmoil about her retirement. She can't put one foot in front of the other. You know, I'm just talking, you know, psychologically, not physically. And I think she's in her own way. But I think it's interesting that Donna, and she had bunion surgery, so she's been down for a couple weeks.
She literally has not been able to put one foot in front of the other.
Her. I was talking about Karen.
No, I know. That's why I was amused that you said the one can and the other, you know,
And they've been best friends since they grew up. But what's funny is I just got dinged twice from Donna, who
wow. It's saying there's a moreness, because in that unity, you know, in that workshop that we did together, a seminar you called it, because yes, it ended up being somewhat of that. But it, you know, in that cohesion, there was a moreness that was formed. And energetic, that configuration, that connectivity is very powerful. So this, you know, Donna, connecting you right now, this is to me quite magical and really significant, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I went over there, brought her lunch, and you know, but she has this odd distance. And I think she's never heard me as the therapist really speak up and say that, like, I hurt and I feel, and you know what I mean, because we're always helping others, you know. And I don't know that she know what to do with that, but I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper than that. I think she was taken back by the fact because she lives in a world that is full of self-esteem gratification. She has to always have people, what's the word, fulfilling her. She struggles to get it from in herself. That's why she's in such high positions and so networked and connected, you know, to everything, you know.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I thought, well, you know, if this friendship is shifted because of that, maybe it's because it's supposed to. I feel like I'm pruning as I get older, I feel like I'm pruning.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
I'm looking at it as healthy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
is she really what I need?
Correct. Are you really what she needs? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also the fact that, I don't mean to minimize this, and it's really difficult for me to say, but that workshop, and I've seen it happen many times, it's a very powerful workshop. It has much down the line consequence. So it reshifts our evaluation of ourselves and our relation to the world. And this is a big deal. The fact that she is connecting to you still, and right now, it's very significant. Means she does want to maintain connection, but she's not sure how exactly. And this is why I reached out to you and said that I do feel that if you ladies were to do something as a group together in terms of with the way of impeccability, this would be profound, because it is a mechanism that enables all of you to connect through each other, with each other, to more. And this I've seen happen. It's very, 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 very powerful.
Yeah.
It's something special.
Yeah. Between you and I think Deanne and
Uh-huh.
myself are the only two who are ready for that emotionally.
Yes. Yes.
Karen, until she shifts her own personal perspective, I mean, she needs help shifting it.
Yes.
But we've all tried. We've all,
Interesting.
she's choosing to stay with that husband and live that life.
Yeah.
So how do you continue to help someone who doesn't want to help themselves?
Yes.
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 And Donna, it's all about image, and she struggles to go. She can go a couple layers down, but to really get in there into those bowels of the.
Gotcha. I heard, and you mentioned this before in the email. At least this is what I, sometimes I hear things that are more than what people are saying. And this is what I did hear from you when we discussed this. And I was thinking about it, and I did want to bring it up with you. I feel that you and Deanne come and do something. Come and do something. I feel it's very important. Here's the point I want to mention. For me personally, how things happen, I don't really care too much. Just you and Deanne come, you do something. It's up to you guys. If you want to, you can just invite Karen and Deanna to participate as an invitation extended from you, as just gifts are from you.
Right.
Doesn't matter. From my point of view, I'm doing it with you and Deanne. You just that same, I hate talking about money, but that same package deal that I said, just proportionally split it out. You and Deanna take care of that. The other two can come and they don't have to pay a cent. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm keen to see the group. Whether it's 2 or 4, I prefer the 4 because I think it will leverage both you and Deanne very profoundly. That group dynamic, it opened up a doorway to a big moreness, particularly for where Karen and Donna are at. Specifically, you could see in a group environment, especially with somebody, an outsider like me, and then, with Beena also coming in, Olivia also, all of this is a leveraging mechanism that allows for a type of a sharing and a growth that can take us beyond. Plus, keep in mind, what way of impeccability, it is really geared towards somebody who is already like a CEO or a life coach or therapist, somebody who's coming at an influential perspective. It's actually geared for them to give them perspective, to expand what they're doing, to give you. So it's very profound. But of course, when you're dealing with somebody directly, now it's coming through that filter, and they can get a little bit distant. So somebody like Donna, who's dealing with self-importance and image and all of this stuff, when it comes in a roundabout way, it is much more effective than coming directly, right? And of course, for you to see how this applies in that second-hand removed way, there's that capital D diplomacy, which we deal with in the way of impeccability, and just all of the factors that are involved with this. It then gives you tools that take what you do, go to the next level and go further. So this would be something very magical to do. And again, if you guys choose, you can include Karen and Donna or not. This would be up to you and Deanne. And
Yeah.
so, from my point of view, I have the contract with you. You're welcome to invite them in. And I do extend this. I extend it to somebody who's coming, and I say, if you want to bring your spouse in, that's fine by me.
Yeah.
I do open that because I feel it's very important to do this as something that's part of some sort of connectivity and community.
Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful.
Beena, what have you done with Sil? Have you done the way of the whole program?
Beena?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. I was listening. I was actually first. I joined it as a post beta tester because Sil announced in a group and asked for 2 beta testers, and I was the luckiest one in that because I still enjoy that moment because I was again. So my most profound memory of this that I was literally jumping on my mattress. Yes, I got it. Yes, I got it.
Yeah.
So I joined this Way of Impeccability as a post beta tester, and but the interesting part is that yes, I am here like for almost a year now on Zoom session daily, sometimes twice a day.
Yeah.
But the modules we did it like just recently finished
Okay.
that, and now I can call myself that. Okay, I've graduated Way of Impeccability. But before even graduated from Way of Impeccability, luckily again, I become a co-facilitator for SEL and for Way of Impeccability. I say both for SEL and for Way of Impeccability because this is something really personal for me because I'm learning a lot more than just Way of Impeccability from him. So it is part of my you can say that grooming also. So a lot of things involved in that.
Wow.
But yes, first I joined this as a
What do
post
you
beta tester.
Are you a therapist, Beena, or what do you do?
And right now, I'm doing this Way of Impeccability. Other than that, I am working at Arts Council Karachi, Pakistan, and I'm working there as a content writer, but not as a regular one, but on project basis. Before that, my journey is quite really interesting because I am a kind of still say that yes, she is intuitive. I am an intuitive, and
Cool.
and I was doing counseling without even knowing that. I'm using the word counseling, but with very with some reservations because I don't want to claim anything. But I was doing
No. But people were looking to you to, they would come and ask you stuff, and they were looking to you for solutions and answers and to help them and so on. So you were inadvertently thrust into that. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So Beena, she started off as a post-beta tester, but she's become a very dear friend, very, very dear friend. A really, really close friend. And because of the intensity of desire to learn. So when you said what Beena does, the answer is really Beena's like a full-time learner and grower and awareness expander. This is what I would say. This is what's most important to Beena in her life. And she's in a fortunate situation where her circumstance allows her and has allowed her to come and be on Zoom with me every single day for the last year. Like I said, sometimes twice a day, morning and evening, because the times are inverted. So this is where Beena's focus is. It is on learning, growing, awareness, understanding, on the way of impeccability. This is her prime focus in her life, right, Beena, as it is in mine.
Yeah.
It is more than just prime focus. It is my passion also.
Yes.
It is my purpose of living because I just can't imagine my life, my being without learning, without growing.
Exactly. So I enjoy Beena being on as part of the facilitation because it is an alternative perspective. It is the perspective of somebody who really lives the way of impeccability, but also who's come to it where it wasn't before. So she can share the journey in terms of somebody acquiring it and how much difference it's made in her life. I mean, we'll spend a whole hour, a whole day on this, right, Beena? A whole week, a month. So this is very valuable. That I don't want anybody to take my word for anything. Never.
Right. Now you read my mind. I wanted to know how you were influenced and how it has changed your life going through this program, Beena.
Okay, the shortest answer I can, the shortest reply for this, that I feel at home,
Huh?
and all these concepts and ideas, they just automatically fit in my mind, and they're so well blend in my mind, that sometimes I need to remind myself that these concepts are newly learned things. This awareness is newly came to me, because this is what I was discussing with Sil. That the
Earlier
magic of
today.
impeccability is that I need to keep reminding myself that, Beena, you were not like this from ages, from your birth. No, it feels like, it seems like that, yes, I have been like this. Even for myself, I also feel that, oh, sometimes, oh, this is something really, this is what I am, this is who I am, this is what my soul is, this is what my awareness is, this is what my intuition is. But I need to keep reminding myself that all this awareness, all this impeccability and appropriateness and other power terms and tools
Yeah.
are newly learned through way of impeccability. This is something really magical for me.
And what Beena is articulating, this is what we were chatting about before you came. Because every day, there's something new. And this was a really powerful point that Beena's making. And it is a great satisfaction for me and a compliment to me. In other words, this is what precisely the aim and objective of the way of impeccability is. It is not to say, here's a new set of beliefs that you need to believe. No, it is connecting you to what already is in you, but isn't necessarily activated. And this is why Beena is saying all of these things are now feel like they innate capabilities for her. And this is important. She just had a demonstration of the ability to apply these. And this is the point. When it comes to be innate and we get to apply it innately without having to remember it as, oh, this is something that I picked up here and there. No, it just comes naturally. Beena was in a situation that was new and unfamiliar to her just a few days ago when she was participating in this Women's Empowerment Conference as part of the Arts Council. They were putting it on, and she was given duties, and things came about just through appropriateness, where she was in new and unfamiliar situations. She didn't remember to do, oh, this, that. No, she just innately applied all of this fluidly, smoothly, and was able to deal with the situation, new situations, beautifully, fantastically, strategically, stepping outside of a comfort zone. All of these things just came naturally. This is huge because of something
This is what real empowerment is.
Exactly. It was so appropriate that there happened to be the conference was in the Women's Empowerment Conference, or just a bonus on top of it. But one of the very significant things that we do in the way of impeccability, that you could call out disruptive technology, in the technology world, they always say, what do you bring that's new, that changes the game? One of the most profound things we do is focus on self-proving. So this is a very big point. Everything we do is geared towards application and your ability to apply it. We want practical usefulness. We don't care just to understand things intellectually or mentally or emotionally. No, you need to be able to apply it. In order to apply it, first you need to own it. Make it your own and own it. This is very key. So this is something that we emphasize, we do regularly. It's part of the whole structure of the way it's taken. And this mechanism leads to, when you own it and you make it your own, we go further. We now institute abilities and mechanisms where you can practice this owning. And this is part of the whole takeaway thing and the whole mechanism of Zoom. You now get to prove to yourself that you own it. And this is absolutely invaluable. How many times do we think we know something and you go and you attempt it, you apply it, and then it just all collapses? because you haven't proven to yourself that you know it. So you don't have that innate confidence. You don't have that understanding and trust in yourself that you do actually own it. So what we do in the Zoom sessions of the Way of Impeccability is precisely practice that owning it for yourself and proving to yourself that you own it. Those two things together are massively changing, and you get to the situation where Beena's in, where she feels these new ways of being, these tools that she has at her disposal are innate, they're automatic, they feel like her natural self, like she's always had them in all her life. And this is precisely how we want it to be. It's like when you have a new program, you get an update to your operating system. That becomes a backward compatible update. If it's appropriate, it applies to everything that went before on your computer. This is exactly what we do in the whole process. So it's a huge deal. So what Beena is saying is that her life has changed profoundly. She's a different person to what she was a year ago. Yes, Beena?
Absolutely. The most amazing part. Okay, now because there is something I can keep going up and keep talking about for months. I can do really easily. But the most amazing thing, the most satisfying and the most magical thing happens to me after this Way of Impeccability is having at peace with my own being. This is the most magical feeling I can ever feel. One could ever feel in her or his life, because having at peace with my own being, having at peace with my own abilities, having at peace with my own understanding, and having at peace with my own sharing also. So this feeling of being at peace is the most magical. Like, okay, we have another project is under process, having peace with money. It's not only about money. The Way of Impeccability actually provide you the feeling and the understanding of being at peace with your own being. And no matter how simple it sounds like, it seems like right now, but once a person start doing that, yes, in the meantime, your whole worldview collapse, and it will give you like shivers, and everything shatters, and the depression and the aggression, everything comes up, because it actually simmers everything up. And yes, it happened to me many times, and I'm not sure that it will not happen. It will. It's a possibility that it will happen again and again. But being at peace, this is the most magical benefit, the most magical outcome of Way of Impeccability, and being at peace with my own being. With my own being. This is the most. Yes, sorry?
Oh, no, it's 1 second. I wanted to hear what Sue was saying. I missed it.
No, I would love that piece. You know what I mean? Because I know that I live in that very inside. Sometimes it gets really crazy, and I just want to stop and relax and just be okay. And it's all going to work out, and sometimes you struggle to find that place. And again, especially in the therapy world, you're constantly helping others, and then you're,
you're disconnected from yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, one piece aspect that Beena did not mention that is profoundly important. Beena, are you at peace with your moreness?
Of course.
Erica, Donna, sure, everybody else, are they similarly at peace with their moreness? Or at least connected to it? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I said that, being at peace with my own being.
Right.
That's it. Because and my, who am I and what is my being? It's a really, really huge topic. And when the moreness concept comes, everything actually changes. It's a game changer. It's literally a game changer.
Right. So I know when you say being at peace with my being, you meaning it includes being at peace with your moreness. But I want to make this very obvious. I know you mean that, but I want to make it obvious for Sue, because this is our focus specifically, is to in the way of impeccability, not just to give you peace with your regular self that you've always known, but to also connect to that moreness that is there, that you kind of know is there, but you're not fully in contact with, right? Now, part of my particular personal skill is that I see people's moreness. This is just something I've developed all my life, made an effort to do, to expand on this ability and to really fine tune it. And Beena somewhat is also now able to see this. So when I look at Sue now, I see a whole lot more that likely if Sue were to say, you know, who are you, Sue? Somebody asks you, you might not express this. But if I were to say the same thing, who is Sue? I would add in a whole bunch of more stuff that, and is to fully connect to that, to own it, to be able to utilize it, express it, and to have this proof of moreness. Then that is where we come to the peace, not just with our beingness, our essential self, but also our moreness. This is a huge deal. Look at, take Donna Beena, just for instance. You'll meet Donna. Donna comes on regularly. She's also been with us now for a year. And, you know, it's just a huge deal with Donna. I mean, she calls it being in touch and owning and feeling and living with her divine self. That's her term that she uses, not mine. And she's at peace with that. She owns it. She's in contact with it. This is a huge deal. And this is what we're all about in the way of impeccability. It is to get to that peace and ownership of your moreness.
So how would I start these modules? You know what I mean? If I
okay, the practicalities. I love this. Very simple. So there's a link that you go to that I give you, and you can do them online. Now, it's time gated from when you start to give you a minimum time that, you can do it in a minimum of the 8 weeks. We are in process of actually adding an extra module, so 9 weeks. So you go online, you do the modules, and a week later you can do, you know, module 2 and so on. So it gates it. But there's no maximum within a year. You can take up to a year to do it if you like. So this is a big part.
go ahead.
Sorry, I just need to add this one point. It's very important. The online part is 5% of the program.
Okay.
It's very small. You go and there's specific things that you do. You come back in the live Zoom session that we set up at least twice a week. You come back and you'll give a repeat back of what was in the modules. And we'll explain what a repeat back is. It's very particular. Then you'll do a takeaway and you'll construct your own dictionary of power. And there's a fourth thing that you'll do. There's specific exercises for each particular session within a module. Typically, the modules have about 3 sessions in them. So there's these things that you do specifically, and those then you come back and you share this doing in the takeaways, in the Zoom sessions, the live, when we call them takeaway sessions, because this is the whole beginners of it. And this is where then it allows for me, and then as Beena helping me, where I can customize to you in particular, and customize according to what is pertinent and relevant in your life in the moment. Because this is how we leverage learning. When you say, you know, I'm dealing with this and that right now, and then we connect it to the way of impeccability, and you say, oh, this is how I apply way of impeccability to my particular things that are going on. Now it sticks in the brain. So there's a very, very profound sophistication to what we are doing, in other words.
Cool. Yeah, because there has to be some application. You just can't read, study, and memorize. Yeah.
Oh, we don't care one hoot for memory. We don't want you to rely on memory at all. So you'll hear this from us time and time again. It's part of the way. Without application, it's all meaningless. So the Zoom sessions are precisely about application. Not only application in terms of we're going over it. No, you're going to demonstrate that you're able to apply it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're setting up those takeaway sessions on Zoom as this is how you're going to demonstrate that you have application. It's very magical. Yeah.
The takeaway on Zoom, is that a scheduled time or?
Correct. Or yes, we both schedule as much as we are able, but we leave some flexibility because we realize it's not always possible to keep to these schedules. We try, of course, but we do. So we'll schedule them twice a week when everybody, especially if there's a group thing. But then also we'll make some allowance for, we're saying, okay, look, you know, if you want to come on, just let me know, and we'll schedule a particular one just for you, you know, or you have something really pressing and you say, look, I got to come on, we got to do a one-on-one. Okay, we'll make allowance. allowance for
What
that
if
too.
what if module number 1, say it takes you 2 weeks to do,
No problem.
and there's scheduled and there's scheduled Zoom takeaways? Are
No
you
problem. No
out of,
problem.
you're not with the other group of
No.
talk? Does it
No,
matter?
makes no difference. Makes no difference. Because in the Zoom sessions, they are group sessions, and others that are participating in the program, wherever they're at, will come and join. And
Oh,
when you hear, and then we'll discuss. And for instance, let's say by the time Erica's already now starting, she's on module 2. Likely, she's on going to be module 3 soon, and 4. It doesn't matter. When you hear her do her takeaway and repeat back of this, and then the interconnectivity, it's all valuable, even if you haven't done it yourself, because we are dealing with abstract understandings. We are dealing with expression, ownership. It's always pertinent and relevant. Everything becomes way of impeccability, and this is the magic of it. So it makes no difference if you get out of sync with those who started the thing with you together. No, it's part of the magic.
okay. And how long are the takeaway sessions?
Typically, we schedule them for 2 hours. So two-hour sessions. Yeah. Because there's a lot going on. And, sometimes they go quicker, sometimes they go longer. I mean, Beena and I have been in 6-hour ones.
Yeah.
Because it's a joy for us. But typically, we know people are busy, their lives are scheduled. And like Erica was doing the way of impeccability in a more casual way before. And then I said to Erica, because Erica is, she's very disciplined, she's very balanced. Balance is a big, capital B balance, a big factor for her. And she's very professional in how she does it. I said, Erica, I want you to come and do the way of impeccability the way it's intended. Restart again, because I see where this is going, and I want you to do it precisely the way it's intended. And I think I sent you some of the videos where she's doing it, yes?
Yeah.
Now,
I didn't watch them all the way through. Some were long, but I did a couple.
As long as you watch even just a few minutes of it, you'll get an understanding of what's going on. So it doesn't matter. But when you see how she's doing it, it gives an idea of what's going on. But the point I wanted to make was that in terms of the timing, we fit this in within the 2 hours. Usually it's more than enough. And I don't want to overload people also, because there is a lot going on, and overload is something that we are very acutely aware of. Because like Beena was saying with worldview collapse, somebody like Donna is going to come into this, and just through sharing and the awareness and listening, she's going to realize, oh my goodness, I thought I knew what was going on, but actually I don't. And this is where worldview collapse comes from. It's hard to imagine the moreness of what we deal with unless you're involved in it. So this is a big deal, and particularly for somebody like you too. Now, you're already prepared for this in your mind, Sue, that you are dealing with people, but you're open to learning more. Not everybody is who's been in a therapy, life coaching, CEO in a position of influence. They're not prepared sometimes to say, "Whoa, I need to learn more." Right? You are prepared for that, and this is a huge deal. But this is something that's very profound, to say, wow, I'm going beyond what I know. I'm extending myself. And what we are dealing with is very sophisticated mechanisms for this extension and connectivity to the moreness, to sorting ourselves, to finding that inner balance, that inner peace, and proving our moreness to ourselves, so that it doesn't become an ego thing, that it becomes simply a matter of self-honesty.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big point that we do repeatedly in this mechanism of proving ourselves to ourselves. It's a huge, huge, huge deal. Yeah. It's really fun too, by the way.
Yeah.
We have loads of fun, right, Beena?
Yeah, and you can make it fun. It's a tough journey sometimes for people. And,
Yes.
Having that support and having those people who understand and judge. And I think that was the biggest feeling. People have said that they feel that from me, and that's why they share so much in the therapy room. But to come and experience that from you and Elvie, it was fabulous. To just know that I knew I was not being judged. This is, my heart was hurting, and I was,
Yes. And that point, that judgment point, it's a big deal. Now, I try not to use that word judgment, because it's so laden and it's got so much stuff. But one thing you'll hear me say very regularly, I say, first of all, one of the most profound things that Wave Impeccability is, and one of our huge, deep, disruptive technologies is no belief required. No belief required. If I find you believing me on something, I say, whoa, 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 Sue, please don't believe me. No, 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 no. Do not believe anything I say.
You gotta live. Yeah.
Right. We are dealing with self-evident sensibilities. For instance, goodness. Goodness is a self-evident sensibility. If I have to explain to you why goodness is good, well, then we kind of lost. Then, okay, this program not for you. Same thing with impeccability. Once we go into detail as to what precisely we mean when we talk about impeccability, it's a self-evident sensibility. So this is what the entire program is based on, self-evident sensibility. You are going to say, well, duh, now that I'm aware of it, well, duh. And then once you get to that duh point of the self-evident sensibility, it becomes yours. This is what Beena was talking about, that the things become innate because they're self-evident sensibilities. You own them and you feel like you've always known them because they are so blatantly obvious. They are really simple, but we need to be aware of that simplicity. So my job really is making the obvious obvious. You know, and it's like, well, why do you need to do that? Well, it wasn't obvious until it became obvious. It wasn't obvious before it became obvious. Once it becomes obvious, this is what I want, and this is what I'm looking to share, is something that is so ridiculously obvious that we go, duh. And it's like, well, and that's that duh point. So duh goes into our dictionary of power, by the way. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Beena was going duh all the time, so we added it because Beena was going duh. So it's fun. That's fun. I love it.
That awareness that you're talking about, that simplicity, I can pick that up in people all the time on the table. Yes. And then it's having my way of explaining that to them. It's all words coming out, but I can see the simplicity and give that back to them. Yes. Again, when it comes to yourself, either I'm not taking the time to do that for myself, but I can see that for other people. Like, you know, awareness is a word that probably comes out, 12 times in every session.
Yes. So what we'll do in the way of impeccability is to facilitate that moreness of Sue, which is seeing everything. But because we are dealing with an overview, abstract conceptuality, we are coming from the top down. It's going to greatly facilitate your ability to express what you see. Mm-hmm. Greatly facilitate. Beena and Donna too. I remember particularly when the two of you started, and look with Erica also, it actually comes up in those videos that Erica struggles with her self-expression. Now, to me, Erica is already quite expressive because we've been working on this from before. She's restarting the program. But the change in Beena's expressiveness and her ability to articulate what she is meaning to say, and Donna's, it's like chalk and cheese. I mean, it's just a huge deal. And this is very profound. The ability to express ourselves because we get that inner peace and that connectivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. So we are deliberately focused. Say again, Sue. I lost you there.
No, I just said I'm definitely interested. I gotta some numbers here and see, and
no problem. To me, the way of impeccability, I'm terrible when it comes to the business side of it because I don't want to sell you to do this. No, you got to come because you want it, because this is important. This matters. If I'm selling you, then there's a bit of influence that's undue. No, you've got to come to this as a passion, as an importance. That's the only way I want you in this. I'm not interested in people who need to be sold to do this. I'll try and facilitate and as best I can to make it easy for you to be here. But no, I don't want anybody who feels sold. So.
Yeah. No. I don't feel that at all.
And you probably feel this in your clients too, yeah? Same thing.
Yeah. I'm always looking for things, and this is my year for more education in my work, and that's educating myself so that I can pass it on to people. Okay. So that was my big pause this year, and that was my word for the year, because I did this whole thing about how last year looked and what was good, what was bad, what I could change, what I couldn't change, and then it was like what was the year in 3 sentences? And then I had to get it down to 1 sentence, and I had to get it down to 1 word. And then where were you going to go this year? And mine was pause, because I'm such a impulsive, spontaneous person, which is great, but I see how it's gotten me in so much trouble.
Wow.
Emotionally, that it's time to pause. So my pauses are, okay, education and learning more about going deeper in myself. This is what I want to do. Instead of jumping on the bandwagon right away, I'm feeling things out more than jumping in.
Yes, fantastic. That's
Yeah.
why I sent you those videos of Erica. I mean, there's so much in that. They are like little mini seminar, not mini. They are real big deal seminars, each video on its own. But I'm sending it specifically so that you can get a taste and a feel of what's involved. And Erica is like a good case study of what taking the program is involved. She really does it appropriately and thoroughly, and this is a big deal. But yes, it is an investment in profound self-education, because it is about precisely what Beena said earlier. It is about enabling the moreness of self and self-empowerment. So it is getting out all of the magic that's already there. We aren't going to add to it. We're just going to bring it out. You already have it all.
Yeah. One thing that I feel very, very strongly about is that I need to be concerned with me right now. Not Donna, not Deanne.
Yes. Okay.
You know what? So
I hear you.
Send me a private message and tell me how much it would be for me to do these modules by myself.
Okay. I'm happy to tell you right here. It doesn't matter to me. I don't. There's nothing private in this. Not a problem. So Sue, the full program is 6,300, and I said I'll do 10,000 for all 4 of you. And then when I was saying earlier, if just you and Diane want to do it, that would be 2,500 each. I said I'll keep that same, whether the other 2 do it or not. If you want to do it on your own, just 3,000. That's fine.
3,000.
Yeah. Because I hear you. Okay, 2.5 if you do it with Deanne. Okay, it's not a big gap, because I hear what you're saying. It is important for you to do this on your own, and I'm quite happy to do it on your own. And if Deanna or any one of the others want to come do it, then we can do it group or individually, separately. We can make these arrangements. But I do hear the importance of you doing this on your own, and we'll set it up that way. So I'm trying to make it really easy for you to do it on your own. If the 2,500 is what you really need to do, and that's okay, you there? Okay, then we do it that way too. I just was making some little difference. I don't know, just seemed appropriate. So like I told you, when it comes to the money, I'm quite dreadful. I need somebody else to do this stuff for me. But I'm trying to be appropriate with it. I'm trying to enable you to come. Part of the money thing is. I mean,
ultimately, we'd love to have all 4 of us in there, but I'm at a point where I'm tired of chasing after people who are not at the same place that I am, and I'm tired of being held back because someone else isn't quite there.
Right. I mean, the reason I made that thing is because it's just I would rather see all 4 of you come in at a discounted thing to enable it, because I did get the feeling that financially, part of what I set up in my financial philosophy is those that can subsidize those that can't. So I do lots of this pro bono. I end up in that. I don't mean to, but that's the way it comes. So that was the idea behind it. So okay, if you do it on your own, since we already made this package deal and all this, okay, I'll just stick with that pretty much, more or less, and I, because I feel this is important. I feel the desire and the need, and you are who I would like to do this with. I'm not open to doing this with everybody. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be discriminatory or, elitist or anything like that, but no, I'm sorry, but it just is not for everyone. And I don't want to do it with everyone either,
And I know, and thank you for that, but I feel that myself, that it isn't, this work is not geared to everybody. Can it help everybody? Sure it can. But
Exactly.
until somebody is ready and yearning for it, then
Right.
what's the point?
Right. There needs to be that passion and that earnestness. And the fact that you said to me that, oh, you want to actually do it on your own rather, that's huge. That's huge. That's huge. That's really significant to me. That's like a tipping point to me to say, man, I got to really make sure to make this happen with Sue.
Yeah.
I see now the necessity and the importance of it. And this is a big deal. This is a big deal.
I
So,
spent my whole life including everybody to make them feel
yes.
connected, to make them feel good. But guess what? It's sometimes you just, I got to drop that aside.
Yes.
It takes away from me. Yeah.
Yes. And this brings us back to one of the very first things I think I said to you in the workshop. If I remember correctly, I said to you, hey, it is Sue time. It is me time now.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I've said this to others as well, but whether I remember it accurately or not doesn't matter. But this is an important point. At some point, we get to a point in our lives where we say, no. It's now me time. And this is important. And this is why when you said you wanted to do it individually,
Right.
I'm saying, yes, Sue, yes, you are owning that it needs to be me time. And I love this. And this is really cool. This is really where it's the focus is. Yes. If we don't help ourselves first, how do we help others?
Help somebody else. Absolutely.
Exactly. So you haven't had the time and the focus specifically to deal with you because you've been taking care of others. No, it's time for you to get your own stuff sorted, fine-tuned, added to, connected to your more, to get that peace with you, not just your being, but your moreness. Very important to be at peace with your moreness.
So again, for the element of, and sorry, I keep going into the kitchen.
No problem. Well, I love it. Absolutely love it.
But I have to go shortly because I have appointments that are starting. But what was I going to say? You just said something.
Being at peace with our moreness.
Retirement. This whole mindset will really help me in retirement, whether it's Airbnb, whether it's just cutting back my clients now and taking Social Security money in a fee, whatever.
Yes. Beena is, you could say, psychologically retired.
Oh, I want that. I'll take that.
Yes, because she's at peace with herself. She doesn't need to go and prove anything. She doesn't have to strive. She doesn't have to struggle. And not just with her being. Beena, please, when you communicate this, being at peace with yourself, to add peace with your moreness, yes?
Go ahead, Beena.
Go ahead, Beena. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, of course. Also that, Sil, you mentioned that pause you want to take and apply that in your life, that pause. We call it a power pause. In Way of Impeccability, when we say that, it's a power pause. Yes, we are taking a pause, but to leverage ourselves, to claim our moreness, to accept our moreness, to progress, for progression, for enhancing ourselves, to know more ourselves, to be at peace with ourselves. So this is what we call a power pause in Way of Impeccability. Yes, and you can have all the calmness of the pause, of taking pause, but also the moreness of it. Yeah. So it's really magical, magical. So this is what you are doing.
Yeah, that was something that came up in the workshop that we had when the four of us ladies were there in November. And I have used that in my therapy room with almost every client since, about power pausing. Stop. Redirect yourself. Set an intention. And this one young woman who's still big in the workforce, and she's in the medical community, and she said, "Oh my God, I never thought of it that way." I said, "Stop, what are you really doing this for? What is
Clarity of intent.
It was
Right
your
there.
Yeah. And I said, your intent is the verb. I don't want to say intention because it's a noun. I said, I want you to take action. That's why it's intent.
Yes. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just,
So
just
what?
by your word, just by your words right now, it gives me a taste what it will be to do this way of impeccability together. I can understand now. I can anticipate that. Okay, yes, what's it gonna be? Because you know that, you know what it is. So
Right.
we will get
And those
moreness
are
of
just
way of impeccability.
right. And we just talked there about power pause. And in the workshop, yes, we share some of it, but it's not the whole of it. There's so much more. We keep saying this. There's always more. There's so much
Yes,
more.
always
So
more.
yeah. It's hard to believe sometimes that there is more, but there is. Very exciting. Very exciting. Oh my goodness. Just what you were saying, in terms of utilizing things in your daily life. When you said about application, that's what we mean. Yes, it has to be connected to application. Without that, it's meaningless. So we always ensure and insist that we get to that point where we can use it and apply it. Otherwise, forget it. We'll keep going until we can apply it.
Until you become aware, first and foremost, of what the issue is. Until you have that awareness, you can't do anything.
Exactly.
Wow.
Right. What is it?
That's why that power pause and those two words together. And I said to my clients, I said, this isn't just a pause. This is a power pause. And I want to hear that real.
Yes.
It's powerful.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
React and think for, you know what I mean?
Yes. So we have more tools that we add in terms of how to utilize this power pause, and we'll share them as we go through it. But this is why, Beena, you see now precisely why the way of impeccability is, its intent in its inception was to be geared towards people who are in a position of affecting and communicating and influencing others. Therapists, life coaches, counselors, teachers, CEOs, management. This is why it's geared to people like Sue. You see the magic of it now. It's just amazing.
Absolutely. And so, as you mentioned that you will go soon. Before you go, I want to say that I'm really excited now to do this with you. I think that I can request you just to do it as soon as possible, because I'm really excited to share Zoom sessions with you. It is really exciting for me.
Me too.
We are quite, I don't know, people say that, okay, weirdos and everything, but I just love this growth. I just love this progression, and every new idea excites me. So I just love your moreness. I love your moreness, Sue, and I'm really excited and looking forward for you.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I think this is going to be a wonderful journey. Okay.
And you feel Sue's power.
Looking at the time here, huh?
Oh, I was just making a little comment to Beena here, because I like to say in the beginning, we'd like to see where things are at, and then we look forward. And I said, do you see Sue's power? And Beena knows what I mean. You have lots of personal power. We don't mean power in the way of dominance or control. No, personal power. And there's something that we pay attention to, and we are looking to maximize that personal power, to get us truly connected to the fullness of our personal power, to be able to use our personal power appropriately.
Right. And for ourselves.
And for ourselves. Exactly.
The most important person in your life.
Exactly.
You, yourself. We, ourselves. That's it.
Exactly. And we love this multitasking, because we do it all the time. You'll see me eating all the time. It's very important. It's very important. Multitasking, very important. Best use of energy, impeccability. All right, Sue. So
I'm going to sign off. So what do I just put on here? Leave meeting?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to move your mouse to bring up the little menu, or if you're on the phone, you have to tap the screen, brings up, and then you just click leave meeting. Before we go, I always like to take care of just housekeeping. It's very important to be housekeeping because that's application. So, Sue, you're going to go obviously consider your things and to actually make this, put it into process. Just either message me again, and I'll just we come on Zoom, and then we can do it online, and I'll show you, and we'll just put in all the details, and it's just a very simple registration mechanism. It's not a big deal. So we'll get you started. It's very easy. Yeah.
Another day or two, and then I'll
Sure.
send you a message and
Oh yes.
get going here. I'm so glad I came on.
Brilliant.
And Beena, thank you.
It's a pleasure
being on with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really excited. It's really my pleasure because I'm excited that what you gonna share, what Sue gonna share, and what. Then I'm really excited about that. It's really amazing. I can feel that. Yes.
Yeah. So what Beena's connecting to is something that I say regularly. You're not going to do the program from me or we do it with you. That's it. We do it with you. And this is what Beena's talking about here. She's excited to be doing this with you because, of course, we learn like crazy as well. Every day we learn.
And how come,
yes.
How comes I only see Beena's name, but not
she has a very peculiar, weird, long story that will take a month to explain because of her camera. So this is a pressure. Beena is going to go today and get this camera finally sorted out because it's been pending. It's just a weird, long, peculiar story. We do need to see Beena. So now, Beena, extra pressure. I'm going to leverage you. Thank you for that, Sue. Thank you. It just things happen that Beena couldn't get the camera working, and it's a long, involved story. So yeah, today's the day for the camera.
So intriguing. And your voice is more intriguing. I can't wait to see your face.
Yes.
Okay. I'm using Chromebook, and somehow I just damaged this camera. I don't know, and I still actually try to fix it online. And he says, "Okay, Beena, just open and screen share and all that." Nothing works, and I call that person. He is not responding, not giving me password. So it's a very long, interesting, funny story. But I will fix it as soon as possible. Just because I'm so excited about you being here also. So
and it's important to see your face.
You are so magical people, and I'm learning every single day, every single minute with you.
Yeah.
Say again, Sue.
All righty. Now I said I really want to see her face. I love her voice.
Yes.
So I want to see her face. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to sign off, and we'll be chatting in a couple days.
Brilliant. Love it. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Sue. Bye-bye. Okay. Excellent.
Bye.
You just click end meeting, and there you go. Fantastic. So I just wanted to say one quick thing, Beena, particularly in the beginning, yes, I know you saying something, and people get excited and they start to say, and you haven't quite finished. Technically it's an interruption, but let it go. And just drop whatever you're saying when they start to say, and just give them that space. I understand that, we are sort of condoning what is technically an interruption, but it's the excitement of the moment. So it's important initially to create where they can feel that they have the space. Yes, over time there's going to be the pause and the thing, but initially we have to do that. Yeah? I mean, in other words, so I'm making a sophisticated point here. I'm making a point.
I was over talking.
No. This is what I'm saying. I'm making a sophisticated point that initially, when you people come in, that we have to be inappropriate, but it's appropriate to be inappropriate, right? So, in our conversations, if I'm too excited and I do this every now and then, you saying something and I start talking before you finish, it's inappropriate for me, and I need to learn to pause and hold it, right? So, and then I always apologize. I'm sorry, carry on, right? And we don't want to encourage this, but we also do need to create a space for people to say what they say, because they are not specifically thinking about the timing of things. As it comes up, they just want to express it. And we want to then, even if we haven't finished making our point, we want to just cut it short and say, it doesn't matter, I'll come back. And I'll remember my point, and I'll come back and make it again later. and I'll first listen to what they have to say, because usually that is quite influential, and I adapt my point, and then I can be more pertinent and relevant. But also, I'm making the point that we do need to be inappropriate in terms of making space for somebody's interruption initially. That's all I wanted to say, and to basically not finish your point. I know you are, yes, it is important to finish our points and to communicate them, but there are times where we kind of have to let it go. That's all
I'm not getting it, Sil. I think that I'm trying to, but keep my words short as much as possible.
It's not about length. It's not about length. It's not about length. Just pay attention to, like, when Sue comes on, and watch her very carefully, because you can't always hear it, because the sound overlaps, and when one is talking, it mutes the other or dampens them somewhat, right? So you have to watch her actually, and when she starts to talk and speak, just cut yourself off. Just kind of end it there and listen to what she's saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but at my end, I never did that, because for me, your video paused many times and your audio also. So I don't know when I did that.
Oh, maybe you don't see when it's happening then. All right. So when you watch the recording, I think you'll see what I mean. And I suspect that this might be because of a time delay thing. That's interesting. I'm not sure what the resolution would be, other than, just kind of watch me a little bit, when I kind of, okay, sometimes I'm doing this because I've got a point that's important to me, but also, okay, maybe just hold on a second, maybe, I don't know, but if my screen is frozen, that's not going to help either. I'm trying to say that in the beginning of when a new person comes on, we need to be highly, highly, highly sensitive to making space for them to say what comes up inside of them in the moment that it comes up. Even though they are actually technically interrupting, it is critically important to allow those interruptions initially. Does this make sense, Beena? I'm not saying anything that's in any way critical of you. So please, I want to make sure that you were being 100% appropriate. I'm actually asking you to be inappropriate. Because in this particular case, initially,
I didn't even know what I have done.
You didn't do anything, Beena. So first, I look from this. You didn't do anything. Okay? I just want to make this really clear. You didn't do anything. Okay. You were being appropriate. You were sharing. You weren't talking too long. You weren't doing anything. But Sue was being somewhat inappropriate. Stuff would come up, and then as it came up to her, she would interrupt you before you'd finished, and you just kept going to finish your point, which is appropriate. But I'm saying that in this case, with new people, it is appropriate to allow their interruption. So I'm simply saying, shift your when you're sharing your points, shift it to being really very attuned to watching them. And when something comes up, you just end your sentence as soon as you can, or you just stop right there and you just make space for them to share what's come up in them. That's all I'm saying. So I'm asking you to modify your appropriateness to include.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To extend our responsiveness, in other words, to have it be really, really fine, so that the moment they start this thing comes up that's important to them, we make space for it, and we are saying, we are listening to you. We are by implication saying that when things come up in you, we want to hear it, and it's important. And they feel that they have the space and license, that they are being heard. This is absolutely essential to create this atmosphere, this understanding, and to confirm it, that people feel they are being heard. So sometimes they might not consciously be interrupting, but subconsciously they interrupt to ensure that they will be heard. Because if they can interrupt and get heard, then this means that we are paying attention to them by implication, right?
Okay, I'll try to.
It's about them.
Or I'll mute myself.
Try to do what, Beena? I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Oh yes, I know. I understand that what you are saying.
What exactly is it that I'm saying? I'm asking for a repeat back. Sorry. I just want to check this.
To just keep my mouth shut. That's it.
Oh, bloody hell. That's exactly why I asked for the repeat back. Because no, that's not what I'm asking, Beena. You see why I asked for the repeat back? Because I got the feeling that this is what you're going to think I'm saying. And I'm not saying this. I'm not saying it indirectly. I don't want you to keep your mouth shut. I ask for your opinions and your perspectives. I'm simply saying, make allowance for being interrupted.
Okay,
I want
I'll
you
try.
to pay attention to the other people in the conversation, new people. I'm not talking Donna or Erika, new people. Donna knows that she can be heard anytime. Erika knows she can be heard. But new people
I don't
like
know.
Sue. So yeah,
Still,
okay, just stop a second and let me say it, because now I'm saying what I want you to specifically do. And you know it's not to shut up, right? So I'm asking you to do something that's new to your mind. So make space for a new idea. Yes?
Okay.
All
Let
right.
me watch that video
Hang on.
recording again.
Let me just say
I will
this.
see.
Yeah, okay. I'll replay it to you in a second. Okay. So all I want to say is, before we replay it, I'll just end this and we'll start the meeting and we'll do it. All I want to say is, all I want you to do is to, when you are speaking, to observe and watch the new people. Watch them very carefully. They are going to have stuff come up in them and they're going to interrupt you. And this is what I want you to pay attention to, their interrupting of you. And when they do, to not finish your point, to be interrupted, to allow yourself to be interrupted, which is inappropriate, but in the bigger context, it is appropriate. So I'm asking you to do something that's inappropriate, to basically not finish your point and to just let it go and stop and just shift it and say, okay, now we're about you and what's come up with you. So I'm asking you to do something that's actually in a politeness point of view and in a communication point of view, and specifically in our practice of communication, is inappropriate for you not to finish your points, but initially only, until we've developed this point where they can hold their points, like you hold your points till somebody's finished and then you make it, right? You've developed that skill, yes? This is not a skill that Sue has yet acquired, and there's the excitement. And also she wants to know that we are making an effort to hear her and listen to her and give her space and pay attention to what she's saying. In other words, it's not a one-sided thing. What she has to say is important. So we are going to prove this by, when stuff comes up and she starts saying them, to immediately just kind of nix what we're saying, to wrap it up, finish it real quickly if we can. If we can't, if it's a longer point, we just cut it off and we come back to it later. All right.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm asking you to do, Beena?
Yes, I know, but I'm not getting it because from my side, I haven't done that. So I will see why
you
it is happening. I haven't I haven't let her start saying something.
Correct.
And I just keep talking. So I will see the recording. So I will get that why and when it was happening.
Okay. So I'm going to end meeting to end the recording, and then I can play the. Oh, you know what? I don't need to do that. Hold on. I think if I go